Good evening. Welcome to Relative Theatrics Reading Greek Tragedy Online series. Tonight's reading, as you all know, is Medea by Euripides. My name is Noelia Burkus, as I already said, and I'm the Director of Virtual Programming here. Tonight's reading is being presented in conjunction with the Center for Hellenic Studies, Cosmos Society, and Out of Chaos Theater Company. Following the reading, there's going to be a discussion with the cast, crew, and community led by Dr. Laura Delosier. The performance you're about to see will be available on the Relative Theatrics YouTube page starting tomorrow. As with the previous readings, the discussion portion will not be live streamed or recorded. We're hosting it via this platform only, so feel free to turn on your videos and contribute to the conversation at that time. Thank you again for keeping your videos and microphones off and muted during the reading. And one more reminder, switch to gallery view if you've not already done so, or switch to full screen now. And do make sure that you've hidden that hide non-video participants in your settings. If you are appreciating the virtual programming from Relative Theatrics, please consider showing us your support by making a donation. You can learn more or make a contribution via Facebook, PayPal, or on our website. You could also mail us a check. No gift is too small, and every penny enriches our ability to bring you risky, relevant, and real theater. We would love to connect with you on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also sign up for our mailing list to find out about future programming from Relative Theatrics on our website at www.relativetheatrics.com. You can currently stream our hybrid theater film production of Loneliness Was a Pandemic by Olivia Haller. Tickets for that are available on the website as well, relativetheatrics.com. And don't forget to tune in 1 week from today, next Thursday, on November 19th, with Read, Rant, Relate continuing online with Bound by Stardust by Claudia I. Haas. If you are in Laramie, we hope that you're enjoying a wine and cheese pairing from Chalk and Cheese. For the month of October, Misty is generously donating 10% of all pairing sales to Relative Theatrics. Finally, I would like to acknowledge the Wyoming Arts Council, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Wyoming Humanities Council, and the National Endowment for Humanities for their grant funding. This reading is also sponsored by the UW Classics program in the Department of Modern and Classical Languages, with support from WIHR, the Department of Modern and Classical Languages, and the Good Family Fund. And this reading is the copyright of Diane J. Rayor, 2013, published by Cambridge University Press, and is performed with permission. Thank you all very much and enjoy the show. Medea by Euripides. Our cast of characters include a nurse, female slave of Medea from Colchis. Tutor, a male slave in charge of Jason and Medea's sons. The chorus, women of Corinth. Medea, princess from Colchis, granddaughter of the sun god. Creon, king of Corinth, father of Jason's new bride. Jason, leader of the Argonauts, Medea's ex-husband. Aegeus, king of Athens. A messenger, servant of Jason, and the two sons, Jason and Medea's younger sons. Lights up.
If only the hull of the Argo had not flown through the dark, clashing rocks to the land of Colchis. If the pine in Mount Pelion's forests had never been cut and supplied oars for the Argonauts in quest of the golden fleece for Peleus. Then my mistress Medea would not have sailed to the towers of Iolcus, her heart dazed with love for Jason, nor persuaded the daughters of Peleus to kill their father. Then she would not be living here in Corinth with her husband and children. Pleasing the people in her land of exile, she helped Jason himself in every way. When a woman does not oppose her man, the greatest security is hers. Now hate infects all the closest bonds of love, Betraying his own sons and my mistress, Jason beds down in a royal marriage, having wed the daughter of Creon, the king. Wretched Medea, finding herself dishonored, cries out his oaths to her, their joined right hands the greatest pledge of all. She invokes the gods to witness exactly how Jason repays her. She lies there without eating, surrendering to pain, dissolving in tears time and time again, knowing her husband has wronged her. Without raising her eyes or lifting her face from the ground, she listens like a rock or sea wave to her friend's advice. Sometimes she turns her pale face away to mourn for her own dear father, her country and family, since she has betrayed all of them to follow a husband who has dishonored her. That woman, so miserable, knows through misfortune what it means to abandon her homeland. Filled with hate, she finds no joy in the sight of her sons. I'm afraid she's planning something. Her hard mind won't stand for mistreatment. I know her. I fear she may silently enter the house where the marriage bed is laid and stab her heart with a sharp sword, or kill the king and the bridegroom, provoking a greater disaster. She is a strange one. No one battling her as an enemy will easily claim sweet victory.
Enter the tutor and the two boys.
Ah, here come the boys, done with their games. They're not thinking of their mother's troubles. Young hearts are not fond of sorrow.
Old household slave of my mistress, why are you standing alone outside the gates? Crying to yourself about your troubles? Does Medea wish to be left alone?
Ancient companion of Jason's children, when the dice of our master's fortune roll badly, it touches the heart of good slaves. I felt such an overwhelming grief that I longed to come out here and tell earth and sky about my mistress's bad luck.
Isn't that poor wretch done moaning yet?
I envy your ignorance. Her pain isn't halfway gone.
The fool, if one may call masters that. She knows nothing of the latest troubles.
What is it, old man? Don't hold back.
Nothing. I regret what I've already said.
By your beard, don't hide this from a fellow slave. I'll keep quiet about it, if I must.
I heard some talk, while pretending not to listen, by the gaming tables where the old men sit near the holy spring of Pyrene. They say Creon, lord of Corinth, intends to banish the boys with their mother. I do not know whether this tale is true. I hope not.
Even if Jason has a quarrel with their mother, will he allow his own sons to suffer exile?
Old marriage ties are abandoned for new, and he is no friend of this house.
We're sunk if new troubles wash over before we bail out the old.
You keep quiet. It's not the right time for your mistress to learn this. Keep the news secret.
Oh, children, do you hear what a father you have? May he be cursed. No, he is my master, but he is caught in cruelty to his family.
What man is not? Did you just learn that everyone loves himself best of all? Because of his new bedmates, their father does not love these boys.
Go inside the house, children. It will be all right. You must keep them out of the way as much as possible. Do not let them near their ill-tempered mother. I have seen her eye them like a bull, as if she had something in mind. Her rage won't end, I know well, until it blasts someone. May it strike enemies and not friends.
Oh, misery! I'm miserable in my troubles. I wish I was dead.
Here she goes. Dear boys, your mother stirs her heart, stirs her rage. Hurry faster into the house. Don't let her see you. Stay away from her. Guard against her fierce temper and the hateful nature of her willful mind. Now go inside as quickly as possible.
The tutor and the children exit.
Clearly, that cloud of woe rising from its source will soon flash with still greater passion. What will her enraged and untamed spirit do when bitten by such evil?
Oh, I've suffered miserably, misery worthy of great woe. Oh, cursed sons of a hateful mother, may you die with your father. May his entire line vanish.
Oh, more miserable indeed. What share do your sons have in their father's crime? Dear children, I'm worried, afraid that you might suffer. The tempers of tyrants are strange. They have so much power and so little guidance that their moods change violently. To face life on equal terms is better. For me, at least, may I grow old without greatness, secure, to speak the word, moderation. Then to act on it is best for men, by far. There's no right time for excess in human life, but when a god becomes angry with a household, even greater ruin follows.
We hear her voice. We hear the cry of the unhappy woman of Colchis. Is she not yet calm? Old woman, tell us. We hear her cry within the gated hall. Woman, since we are her friends, we do not rejoice at the grief of this house.
What house? It's already gone. The bed of a royal family claims him, while my mistress wastes her life away in her room. No words from friends or family comfort her in any way.
May lightning from heaven strike my head. What do I gain by living any longer? Oh, in death may I take my rest, abandoning this hateful life.
Zeus, earth, and light, do you hear the miserable bride sing such a dirge? Foolish woman, why do you desire that cold, cruel rest? Why hurry death's end? Don't pray for this. If your husband worships at a new bed, do not be sharp with him. Zeus will take your case. Do not waste away weeping too much for your bed partner.
Great Themis and Lady Artemis, do you see what I suffer, despite binding my accursed husband with sacred oaths? May I gaze upon him and his bride, gouged out, scraped away, house and all. They dared to wrong me first. Oh, father, homeland, I abandoned, shamefully killing my brother.
You hear what she says? She shouts an invocation to Themis and to Zeus, whom mortals honor as overseer of the oath. The rage of my mistress will not end with some trivial deed.
We wish she would let us see her. Come out and hear our voice, listen to our words, dismiss her mind's temper and angry passion. Let our willing support not abandon our friend. Step in, bring her out of the house, and tell her we too are friends. Hurry in before she harms someone. This sorrow rushes on and grows.
I'll do it, but I fear I won't persuade my mistress. I'll do you this favor of my labor, although she glares like a bull, like a lioness with a newborn cub whenever a slave approaches to have a word. You said that men of old were foolish and not at all wise. You would not be wrong. They invented songs for festivals, banquets, and dinner parties, merry music for life. Yet none has discovered poetry or songs played on a lyre to end such bitter human suffering that unleashes death and terrible misfortune, wrecking homes. The lives of human beings benefit from songs that heal. During abundant feasts, why strain the voice in vain? The plenty of the feast at hand holds delight in itself for humans.
We hear her cry, a mournful dirge. She calls out shrilly, wailing in distress about her bed betrayer, her wicked husband. Having suffered injustice, she invokes Zeus's Themis, goddess of oaths, who bade her journey to Greece across the strait through the brine by night toward the Bosporus barrier of the treacherous Black Sea.
Women of Corinth, I've come out of the house to avoid reproach. I know that many people prove themselves arrogant either behind closed doors or in public. Others win a bad reputation for indifference just by living quietly. It isn't right for people to hate at a glance before understanding the core of a man, even though not wronged for wit. A foreigner certainly must conform to the state. Even for a citizen, I don't approve if he carelessly pleases himself while offending his fellows. But for me, this unexpected catastrophe has destroyed my life. I am lost, my friends, and casting away life's joy, want to be dead. I know well the one who was everything to me has turned out to be the worst of men, my husband. Of all who live and can think, we women are the most miserable species. We must buy a husband with abundant goods and, an evil more hurtful than the initial purchase, take him as master of our body. That is the greatest challenge, whether we win a bad husband or a decent one. Divorce ruins a woman's reputation, nor is it possible to refuse a husband. Without instruction at home, you must become a prophet to understand new habits and customs and what sort of bedmate you will need to manage. If we do a good job with that, and a husband lives with us without protesting the marriage yoke, then our life is enviable. If not, better to die. When those at home annoy a man, he leaves, ending his heart's distress by turning to a friend or companion, while we women must look to one soul alone. They say that we live a life in the house without danger, while they fight with spears. They think wrongly, for I would rather stand in the line of battle 3 times than give birth once. Well, my story, though, is not the same as yours. You have this city, and your father's homes, and advantage in life and company of friends. Bereft of my city, I am humiliated by the man who stole me from a foreign land. I have no mother, no brother, no kin to shelter with away from this disaster. That's why I want you to go along with one thing. If I should find some way or means to pay back my husband for these wrongs, and his bride, and the father who gave her to wed, keep silent. In other matters, a woman is full of fear and weak in weapons and strength. But when she finds herself wronged in the marriage bed, no one wields a mind more murderous.
Medea, will you keep silent while you justly pay back your husband? I am not surprised you grieve at your fate. Here I see Creon, Lord of Corinth, coming to announce new decrees.
You there, scowling and angry with your husband. Medea, I command you to leave this land, banished with your 2 children without delay. As the enforcer of this order myself, I will not return to the palace until I cast you beyond my borders.
No! Misery, utter destruction! My enemies unfurl all their sails against me, and I can find no safe harbor from ruin. Still, although in agony, I will ask, Creon, why do you banish me?
I fear you. No need at all to cloak my words. Afraid you may incurably harm my daughter. The evidence points that way. You are clever by nature and skilled in myriad means of destruction. And you grieve, deprived of your man's marriage bed, I hear, as the report goes, that you threaten the groom, the bride, and me, who gave her in marriage. So I will be on guard before anyone suffers. Better for you to hate me now, woman, than for me to be soft now and later groan in regret.
Not now for the first time, Creon, but often has my reputation hindered and injured me. No sensible man should ever educate his sons to be overly clever. Aside from seeming lazy, they earn envy and resentment from their neighbors. If you bring a new idea to fools, you will seem useless, not clever. But if the public considers you superior to the experts, they will be offended. I, too, share in this lot. The experts envy me for being clever, while fools consider me a bother. No, I am not so very clever. Yet you fear me. What unpleasantness could you suffer? Creon, don't be afraid of me. I'm not the kind to make a mistake with a man of the royal line. What injustice have you done me? You gave your daughter where your heart led you. Yes, I hate my husband. You, I think, acted sensibly. Even now, I don't resent that your affairs prosper. Keep the marriage, and farewell. But allow me to live in this land. I will keep quiet, even if wronged, conquered by those more powerful.
I hear your mild words, but I'm terrified that you may be planning something evil. I trust you even less than before. Much easier to guard against an angry, sharp-tongued woman, or man, than a silent, clever one. Leave as quickly as possible. No more talk. The matter is fixed, and you cannot contrive a way to remain among us while hostile to me.
No! I beg you by your knees, by your newly wed daughter.
You waste words. You will never persuade me.
Will you cast me out, showing no respect at all for prayer?
Yes, because I do not love you more than my home.
Oh, my fatherland, how strongly I remember you now.
After my child, I love my country by far the most.
Loving is a great evil for mortals.
I suppose that depends on the circumstances.
Zeus, may you not forget who caused these troubles.
Crawl away, foolish woman, and end my toils.
I have toils, no shortage of toils.
My attendants will force you out at once.
No, not that, Creon, I beg you.
You're making a scene, woman.
We'll leave. I'm not pleading to revoke my exile.
Then why still pressure me by not releasing my hand?
Allow me to remain for this one day to fully consider the means of our exile and a refuge for my boys, since their father does not care enough to plan at all for the children. Pity them. You too are a father, so naturally you would favor children. If we go into exile, I have no thought for myself, but I weep for their lives in disaster.
In no way is my temper tyrannical by nature. I've often ruined matters by showing consideration. Although I see I am making a mistake, woman, you shall succeed in your request. I proclaim to you, if tomorrow the light of Helios sees you and your children within our borders, you will die. This sentence is fixed infallibly. So now, if you must stay, stay for just one day. You will not do in a day the terrible things I fear.
Oh, unhappy woman, miserable under your burdens, where will you turn? What ally or household or country will deliver you from your troubles? Medea, a god set you to sail on a trackless sea swell of troubles.
It has gone badly in all ways. Who will deny that? But by no means are things set. Don't assume it. There are struggles ahead for the newlyweds, and no small labor for the one who made the match. Do you think I would ever fawn on that man without some profit or plan? I would not have spoken or ever laid hands on him. Though he could block my plans by throwing me out, he has reached such a pinnacle of foolishness that he allows me to remain this one day, in which I will make 3 of my enemies corpses: the father, the daughter, and my husband. My friends, with so many fatal paths for them, I do not know which to lay my hands on first. Shall I set fire to the bridal home, or stab through the heart with a sharp sword, silently reaching the palace where their bed is laid? Just one thing bothers me. If I were caught entering the house and in the act, my death would provide my enemies a good laugh. Best is the direct path, in which my nature is most clever. To kill them with poison. Good. They're dead. Then which city will welcome me? What host will save my skin, offering refuge from violence and a safe house? Oh, there is none. Then I must still wait a short time. If some tower of safety should appear, I will silently pursue murder through deceit. Or if inescapable fortune drives me out, I'll take up a sword, even if I am certain to die, and kill them. I will go to the extremes of daring. No one, by the mistress I chose as partner and revere most of all, Hecate, who dwells in the innermost center of my hearth, no one will torment my heart and rejoice. I will make them a bitter and sorrowful marriage. Bitter the father-in-law and my exile from this land. Come now, Medea, spare nothing from your skill in planning and devising. Charge into the terrible fray. Now is the test of courage. You see what you suffer. You must not be mocked by Jason's marriage into the house of Sisyphus. You, born of a noble father, himself from Helios the sun. You know how. Women, by nature, utterly lack the means for noble actions, but are the most clever architects of every evil.
Holy rivers run upstream. Justice and everything flows in reverse. With deceptive plans, men no longer keep their pledge sworn to the gods. Now the stories will change our lives for glory. Honor arrives for womankind, and ugly rumor will settle upon women no more. The muses of ancient bards will end the songs of our unfaithfulness. Apollo, god of music, did not endow us with inspired song to the lyre, or we would have sung a reply to mankind. Long ages have much to tell about the destinies of women and men. You sailed from your father's home with a maddened heart, traveling through the rocky shores of the Bosporus. You live here as a foreigner, your bed now a manless union, lost. Miserable woman, driven in exile from Corinth, dishonored. The grace of oaths has vanished. Shame no longer stays in wide Greece, flown into the ether. Unhappy woman, you cannot find shelter from your troubles on your father's shore, and another woman, a princess, stronger than your marriage bond, commands your house.
Now, not for the first time have I observed, but often, how a prickly anger causes impossible problems. Although you could have stayed in this land and house by lightly bearing the deliberations of your betters, you will be banished for your foolish talk. It doesn't matter to me that you never stop blathering that Jason is the worst possible man, but with your talk against the royal family, consider it profit that you are only punished with exile. While I always tried to calm the anger of the impassioned king and wanted you to stay, you hung on to your stupidity, always slandering the royal family. So you are banished from here. Nevertheless, not denying the family in such circumstances, I have come to provide for your welfare, woman, so that you might not be poor while in exile with children, or in need of anything. Exile brings with it many troubles. Even if you hate me, I cannot ever think badly of you.
Vile bastard! I call you the worst curse my tongue can speak to your unmanly self. You come to me, you come here, most hated by the gods and me and all the human race? Such confidence is not courage to face the family you have wronged, but the greatest of all diseases among humans, brazen shamelessness. You did well to come, though. I can lighten my spirit by cursing you, and to listen will strike you with pain. I will begin at the beginning. I saved you, as all the Greeks know who sailed in the Argo with you. When you were sent to tame and yoke fire-breathing bulls and sow the field with a deadly crop, I killed the sleepless dragon that kept the golden fleece safe in its tangled coils, and so held up the light of salvation for you. After I betrayed my father and my home, I went with you to Iolcus, more eager than wise. There I killed Peleus in the most dreadful way to die, at the hands of his own daughters, destroying his whole house. Then, after you benefited from all that I did, worst of men, you betrayed me and took a new bride, even though you have sons. If you were childless, one could understand you lusting for a new bed. Trust in oaths has vanished. I cannot figure it out. Do you think that the gods then in power no longer rule, or that new laws now prevail for humans? Since you know full well that you broke your oath to me, the pledge of my right hand that you often clasped, these knees grasped falsely, besieged by a wicked man, I missed the mark in my expectations. All right. I'll talk with you since you are family. What can I expect to gain from you? Under questioning, you'll prove more shameful. Where shall I turn now? To my father's house, which I betrayed along with my homeland, to come with you? Or to Peleus' wretched daughters? They would give me their father's killer a warm welcome in that house. It's like this. My kin in Colchis despise me, and for your sake I made enemies of those Greeks whom I need not have hurt. In return for all that, you made me blessed among Greek women. Unlucky me, I have marvelous and trustworthy you for husband. While I flee the land, bereft of friends, discarded, alone with the children, alone! A fine reproach for a new bridegroom, that your sons wander as beggars, and I, too, who saved you. Zeus, why did you give humans signs to clearly identify counterfeit gold, but no mark on a man's body to distinguish the bad among men?
Terrible anger and hard to heal when kin clash with kin.
It seems I must prove myself an eloquent speaker, woman, like an alert pilot on a ship with sails mostly furled to run from under your loud-mouthed yapping tongue. Since you raise a monument to gratitude, I consider Aphrodite alone the savior of my expedition, of all gods and humans. You do have a subtle mind. Yet to detail the whole story of how Eros compelled you with his inescapable arrows to save my skin would cause resentment. I will not itemize it too precisely. Where you really did benefit me, you didn't do badly. In return for my salvation, though, you got better than you gave, as I will explain. First, you live in Greece instead of a barbarian land, and you know justice and the rule of law that doesn't bow to force. Second, all Greeks know you are clever and you have fame. If you lived on the mountainous edge of the earth, nobody would know your story. I would rather have a remarkable destiny than either a house full of gold or a song more potent than Orpheus. I tell you these things about my labors because you started a contest of words. As to the royal marriage for which you reproach me, I will show that in this matter I have been clever and sensible and also a great friend to you and my sons. But keep calm. When I moved here in exile from Iolcus, dragging along many inescapable disasters, what luckier find could I have found than the king's daughter to marry? Not because I hated your bed, that's what truly grates at you, or struck with desire for a new bride, or eager to hold a baby-making contest. The current sons are sufficient. I have no complaint. But most importantly, so that we might live well and not lack things, knowing that everyone flees the path of a friend without means, and that I could raise sons worthy of my house and sow brothers for the children from you, set them on the same footing and prosper by merging the family line. Why do you need sons? It is profitable for me if future children benefit those alive now. Surely I have not planned badly? You would agree if sex did not grate at you. You women have reached a point where you think that if things are right in bed, you have everything. But if any misfortune happens to the marital bed, you consider the best and finest as the worst. Mortals should have another way to father sons and no need for the female race. Then mankind would have no trouble.
Jason, you presented this story well. In my opinion, contrary to your judgment, you have unjustly betrayed your wife.
How very different I am from mortals in many ways. In my mind, whoever speaks cleverly while being unjust deserves the most punishment. Confident that his tongue will nicely cloak injustice, he dares to do wrong. Yet, he is not so very clever. So you too. Don't wear a facade of decency to me with a terribly clever speech. 1 point will knock you out. If you were not evil, you should have persuaded me before making this marriage, not hidden it from your family.
Sure. I think if I had told you about my marriage, you would gladly pull your oar for it. Even now, you can't bear to cast off your heart's great rage.
No, you were thinking that a foreign wife wouldn't provide you glorious status in old age.
Now understand this. Not for the sake of a woman did I marry into the bed of royalty as I now have, but just as I said before, wanting to rescue you from danger and to produce for my boys royal sons from the same source, a safeguard for my house.
Grant me no painful life with prosperity or wealth. That grates on my mind.
You know how to change your prayer and seem wiser? Pray that good things never seem painful to you, and when you're fortunate, don't think it bad fortune.
Add insult to injury since you have refuge, but I will be in exile from this land, abandoned.
You chose this. Blame no one but yourself.
I did what? Took a wife and betrayed you?
No, cursed unholy curses against the royal family.
And I am truly a curse on your house.
I won't dispute these things with you further. If you want some aid from my wealth for the boys or yourself in exile, say so. I am prepared to give my ungrudging hand and send tokens to allies who will treat you well. Woman, you would be a fool to reject this. Forget your anger, you'll profit more.
We would not use your connections and won't accept anything. Don't give it to us. Gifts from a wicked man benefit no one.
So be it. I invoke the gods as witness that I wish to do everything for you and the children, but no, good things are not enough for you. You reject friends to please yourself. Well, you will suffer even more.
Go on. Desire for the freshly tamed girl seizes you, out of sight of the palace for so long. Go, bed your wife. Perhaps, with a god's favor, you marry such a marriage as will make you mourn.
The extreme passion of Eros never grants men prestige or virtue, but when Aphrodite sends just enough love, no other god is so gracious. Goddess, may you never shoot me with inescapable arrows from your golden bow anointed with desire. May moderation, the finest gift of the gods, grace me. May terrible Aphrodite never cast into me angry quarrels and endless strife, striking my heart for another bed. Respecting peaceful unions, may she judge marriage for women wisely. Oh, fatherland, oh, home, may I never live without my city, leading that difficult life without means, most pitiable of sorrows. I would rather death conquer me, death ending my last day. No troubles can compare to being deprived of one's native land. We ourselves know and can tell your story. No city, no allies will pity your suffering, most terrible suffering. May anyone so ungrateful perish who is unwilling to honor his friends with the open doors of a pure heart. Never will he be a friend to me.
Medea, I wish you joy. No one knows a finer greeting than this to address friends.
Glauce, joy to you, King of Athens, son of wise Pandion. From where do you come to visit this land?
From Apollo's ancient oracle.
Why travel to the earth's center where prophecies are sung?
To inquire how I could sow the seed for children.
By the gods. No child through the course of your whole life.
We have no children, by the grace of some god.
Do you have a wife, or are you unmarried?
We are yoked in the bed of marriage.
Then what did Apollo tell you about children?
Words too clever for a man to interpret.
Is it right for me to know the oracle of the god?
Certainly, since it truly needs a clever mind.
What was the response? Tell me, if indeed I may hear.
Not to release the wineskin's jutting foot.
Until you do what, or reach what land?
Until I return to my hearth and home.
Then why have you sailed to this land?
To see Medeas, lord of Troezen.
A son of Pelops and most virtuous, they say.
I wish to share with him the god's prophecy.
He is a clever man and skilled in such things.
Dearest to me of all my allies in battle.
Then good luck, and may you attain your desire.
But why is your face so gaunt? And your eyes?
Glauce, I have the worst husband of all.
What are you saying? Why are you upset?
Jason wrongs me, although suffering nothing from me.
Tell me more plainly. What has he done?
He has a woman other than me as mistress of his house.
No. Surely he hasn't dared this most shameful act.
Now you know, he dishonors those he once loved.
From passion or despising your bed?
Oh, a great passion. He is unfaithful to his family.
Let him go then, if he's as bad as you say.
A passion to acquire a tyrant for a father-in-law.
Who gave his daughter to Jason? Tell me more.
Creon, who rules this land of Corinth.
Woman, no wonder you feel pain.
I am lost and banished from the country.
Another new trouble. Who banishes you?
Creon banishes me from Corinth.
Jason will allow it? I don't approve.
In words, no, but he's willing to endure it. I beg you, by your beard, by your knees, I am a suppliant. Pity me, the unfortunate, and after expulsion, don't let me be abandoned. Accept me in Athens at the hearth in your home. So may your desire for children by gods be fruitful, and may you be prosperous until death. You do not know what a find you found. I will stop you from being childless, help you sow the seeds for children. I know such a potion.
Woman, I'm eager to grant this favor to you for many reasons, and for the gods, first of all. Then for your promise of children. On that matter, I'm utterly lost. For my part, if you come to Athens, I will try to protect you as is just. Nonetheless, I declare to you, woman, that I will not arrange your passage. If you come to my house on your own, you will remain safe. I will not give you up to anyone, but you shall depart from this land. On your own feet, I wish to be blameless to my allies.
So be it. If I might have a pledge of this, it would set my mind at ease.
What's the problem? Surely you don't distrust me?
I trust you. But Peleus' house is hostile to me, and Creon's too. If you are bound by oaths, you would not release me to those who banish me. With just a verbal agreement not sworn to the gods, you might become their friend, and their demands quickly persuade you, since my position is weak and they have wealth and the palace of royalty.
Your speech shows much forethought. If an oath seems best to you, I won't refuse. After all, it's safer for me to be able to show your enemies a proper excuse, and it gives you more security. Name your gods.
Swear by Earth's plane and Helios, father of my father, and the whole race of gods all together.
Tell me what I ought to do or not do.
To never yourself cast me out of your land, and if any of my enemies want to take me, to not willingly extradite me while you live.
I swear by Earth and the bright light of Helios and all the gods to abide by what I hear from you.
Good. If you do not abide by this oath, what will you suffer?
Whatever happens to immoral men.
Farewell then, and safe journey. All is well. I will come as quickly as possible to your city after doing what I intend and attaining what I wish.
May Lord Hermes, son of Maia, escort you home. May you accomplish all that you have in mind to strive for, since you seem to me, Aegeus, a noble man.
Oh, Zeus and Zeus justice and light of Helios. Now, my friends, we will have sweet victory over my enemies. We have set foot on that path. Now I can hope my enemies will pay the just price, since that man appeared as a safe harbor for my plans, satisfying my greatest concern. I will fasten my cable to moor with him in the city of Pallas Athena. Now I will tell you my entire plan. Accept what I say without hope of pleasure. Sending off a servant of mine, I will ask Jason to come face me. When he arrives, I will speak soft words to him, that I see it his way, that he marries well, marrying royalty as he has, and betraying us, and that it is profitable and well conceived. Then I will ask if my sons can remain, not as if I would leave them here for my enemies to abuse, but for me to kill the king's daughter through deceit. I will send them with gifts in hand, a delicate dress and a golden tiara. If she places the pretty things upon her skin, the girl and all who touch her will die horribly. I will anoint the gifts with such poisons. Now I'm done with that subject. But I cry out at what deed I must do next. I will kill my children, my own. No one can rescue them. After wiping out Jason's whole house, I will leave the land, flee the murder of my dearest boys, daring this most unholy deed. Friends, I will not tolerate mockery by my enemies. Let it go! What profit in staying alive? No country, no home, no way to turn from evil. I made a mistake when I abandoned my homeland, trusting in the words of a Greek man. Now he will pay me justice, God's willing. Never will he see the sons I gave him alive, or father children from his newly-wed bride. The evil girl must die an evil death by my poisons. Let no one think me simple, weak, or passive, but the opposite, hard on my enemies and kind to my friends. Those who live by this creed will win the greatest glory.
Since you have shared this account with us, wishing to help you as well as supporting the laws common to humanity, we forbid you to do this.
It can't be otherwise. I forgive you for saying so, since you aren't suffering and I am.
Woman, will you dare to kill your own seed?
Yes, to bite into my husband hardest.
You would truly be the most miserable woman.
So be it. All talk in the meantime is too much. Hurry away and bring Jason, since I call on you in matters needing trust. Say nothing of my resolutions if you think well of your mistress and our woman.
Since ancient times in Athens, the sons of Erechtheus prospered, children of the blessed gods, born from sacred land, unconquered, feeding on the most glorious wisdom, ever strolling gracefully through luminous air, where they say, the 9 holy muses of Pieria gave birth to fair-haired harmony. Athenians celebrate how Aphrodite, drawing water from the beautiful river Capissos, blows temperate breezes over their land with her sweet breath. Ever wearing a fragrant garland of roses on her hair, she sends love to join with wisdom, partners in every kind of excellence. How will this city of sacred rivers and safe passage for friends keep a child killer, you unholy among the pure? Think again about striking these children. Think whose blood you shed. By your knees we beseech you in every possible way, do not slay your children. Where will you find the audacity, from your mind or from your children, to lead your hand and heart in such terrible daring? How will you gaze at your children without tears, embracing the destiny of murder? As your children fall pleading, you will not have the strength to wet your hand in their blood with rash and reckless heart.
I've come as you asked. You won't fail in this, even though you dislike me. I will listen. Woman, what new business do you wish of me?
Jason, I beg you to be understanding about what I said. One expects you to bear my moods, since our long love has prepared the soil. I talked it over and scolded myself. Stubborn woman! Why be mad and bear hard feelings against those who plan well? Why stand as an enemy to the ruler of the land and to my husband, who acts most favorably for us, marrying a princess and fathering brothers for my children? Shall I not divorce my passion? What is wrong with me when the gods provide so well? Don't I have the boys? And don't I know that we are exiles from this land and lack friends? With this in mind, I realize that I have been misguided and pointlessly enraged. So now, I praise you, and you seem to me sensible to make this alliance, and I thoughtless. I ought to share in these plans, and help out and stand by the bed, pleased to tend your bride. Well, We women are such as we are. I won't exactly say wicked. Still, you should not match our wickedness or pay back foolishness with foolishness. I ask for pardon and claim that I reasoned wrongly then, but now reconsider for the better. Oh, boys, come here. Leave the house and come outside. Welcome your father and speak to him with me. Join mother in changing hate into friendship. We made a truce, and the rage is gone. Clasp right hands. Boy. Oh, I'm thinking of hidden harm, my boys. Will you reach out your dear arms like this your whole life through? I am miserable, close to tears and full of fear. My quarrel with your father over at last. Oh, this tender sight fills me with tears.
A fresh tear falls from my eyes, too. May greater harm not follow this one.
I approve, woman. And I don't blame you. One expects females to get mad when husbands smuggle in other marriages. But your heart has changed for the better. You recognize the winning plan at last. These are the actions of a sensible woman. Sons, your father has most thoughtfully created great security for you, God's willing. I believe you will yet be among the elite with your future brothers here in Corinth. Grow up. And the rest your father will handle, with whoever of the gods is kind. May I see you when you've grown into strong young men, triumphant over my enemies. Woman, why do you turn your pale cheek, your eyes wet with fresh tears, and not accept my words gladly?
It's nothing. I'm thinking about these children.
Now, take heart. I will arrange all things well for them.
I'll do that. I won't distrust your words. But a woman is female and prone to tears.
Why so much moaning about these children?
I gave birth to them. When you prayed that the children would live, pity washed over me. Will it happen? Never mind. You came to speak with me for their sake. Part I've said, the rest I will mention. The royal family has decided to banish me. I know well that this is best for me too, not to be underfoot for you or the rulers, since I seem unfriendly to the palace. All right. I will leave here for exile. But ask Creon not to drive your sons from this land, so that you may raise them with your own hand.
I might not persuade him, but I must try.
Then urge your wife to entreat her father not to banish your sons from Corinth.
Certainly. And I do expect to persuade her if she is a woman like all the rest.
I too will help you in this task by sending her gifts far more beautiful, I know, than any among mortals. A delicate dress and a golden tiara, which your sons will carry. One of the servants here should quickly bring the pretty things here.
The servants hand Medea the dress and the tiara in a box.
Your bride will be happy, not in one, but myriad ways. She wins you for bedmate, the best of men, and the finery which my grandfather Helios once gave to his own descendants. Grasp the dowry, boys, in your hands, and give it to the blessed princess bride. She will welcome these faultless gifts.
You fool! Why empty your hands? Keep these riches. Do you suppose the royal palace lacks dresses, or do you suppose gold? Don't give them away. If a wife considers me worthy of any account, I know that she'll rank me higher than rich goods.
No. They say gifts persuade even gods. Gold is stronger to mortals than countless words. A lucky spirit favors her. Now a god makes her fortune grow. She's young and the princess I would trade my life, not just gold, to revoke the exile of my boys. Children, go to the wealthy palace, to your father's new wife and mistress. Beseech her, beg her not to banish you. Give her these pretty things. Take care that she receives these gifts into her hands.
Medea gives them to the children.
Go, quickly, and bring back the good news your mother desires of your success.
Jason and the children exit.
Now we can no longer hope for the children's lives. Not now when they march off to their murder. The bride will accept the golden headband. The poor girl will accept ruin. Her own hands will set the finery of Hades upon her yellow hair. Charm and the ambrosial gleam will persuade her to put on the dress and gold-wrought crown. Already she wears her bridal dress, a bride among the dead. She will fall into such a trap, the destiny of death. Poor girl, she will not escape from ruin. Ah, you reckless, poorly wed son-in-law of royalty, ignorant that you bring destruction upon your children's lives, and your wife a horrible death. Unhappy man, how far you've strayed from your destiny. Next, we mourn with your grief. Reckless mother of sons, who will murder children for the sake of a bridal bed because your husband lawlessly abandoned you to join in another union.
The tutor enters with the children.
Mistress, your children have escaped exile, and the royal bride gladly accepts the gifts from their hands. There's peace for the boys. What? Why are you upset with good fortune?
No.
That is not in tune with the news.
No, again.
Surely I'm not the messenger of misfortune without knowing it. Was I wrong to think it good news?
You brought the message. I don't blame you.
Then why are your eyes downcast? Why are you crying?
Necessity forces me, old man. I was thinking wrongly when I and the gods arranged these things.
Take heart. Your sons will bring you back yet.
I will sooner bring down others, miserable me.
You are not alone in being parted from your children. Human beings must lightly bear misfortune.
So I will. But go inside the house and prepare for the children's daily needs.
The children stay on stage.
Boys. Oh, my boys. This is your city and home where you will live forever deprived of your mother, leaving me in misery. I go to another land a refugee before enjoying you and seeing you happy, before prenuptial baths and wives, before I adorn your wedding beds and raise the torches. Almost miserable from pleasing myself. I raised you in vain, children, after all. In vain I labored and was torn with pains, bearing cruel grief in childbirth. Oh, this unhappy woman once had many hopes in you, that you would take care of me in old age, and all would envy me when I die, since your own hands would shroud me. Now these sweet thoughts perish. Without you, I will live a painful life, full of grief. Oh, your dear eyes will no longer see your mother when you withdraw to another state of life. Boys, why this look in your eyes? Why do you smile your last smile at me? Oh, what shall I do? Women, my heart is utterly lost looking into the bright eyes of my children. I cannot do it. Goodbye, my plans. I will take my boys from this land. Why should I hurt their father with their anguish and win twice as much anguish for myself? No, I cannot. Goodbye, plans. And yet, why should I suffer? Do I want to be mocked for not punishing my enemies? I must dare to do this. Such cowardice to even admit soft words in my mind. Children, into the house.
The children head towards the house, but are occupied by an attendant at the doors. Medea moves to where they cannot hear her.
Whoever thinks it is not right to attend my sacrifice, stay at your own risk. I will not weaken my hand. Oh. No, truly, my heart, no, don't do it. Let them be, wretched heart, spare the children. Living there with us, they will bring us joy. No, no, my Hades avengers, this can never be. That I surrender my boys to my enemies to abuse. Anyway, what's done is done. The royal bride won't escape. Now in the dress, with the crown on her head, she dies, I know. Since I will travel the most miserable road and send them down one more miserable still. I wish to speak to the children.
Medea and the children come together.
My boys. Give mother your right hand to caress. Dearest hand, children's mouth, noble form and face so dear to me. May you be happy. But there, your father took away life here. Oh, sweet embrace. Oh, the soft skin and sweetest breath of children. Go in, go. I can't look at you any longer while anguish defeats me.
The children leave.
I understand what evil I intend to do, but my heart is master of my plans. That heart causes mortals the greatest evil.
Often we speak about subjects more subtle and engage in debates greater than womankind should seek. For the sake of wisdom, the muses also speak with a few of us, not all, maybe one among the many. Yet the muses do inspire a small group of women. We say those who never bear children nor have anything to do with them find greater happiness than parents. Without trial and error, the childless never discover whether children bring pleasure or pain, and so escape from many labors. But those with the sweet sprout of children in their home, we see them worn down by care every day. How will they nurture the children? How to leave them a livelihood? Even then, who knows if they labor for bad children or good? We must state the worst anguish of all for every human being. Suppose parents find inadequate living of the young body, and the young bodies grow into youth, and the children are truly good. If fate brings it about, death flies off to Hades with the children's bodies in tow. How is the most painful sorrow piled onto the rest that gods inflict upon mortals worthwhile for the sake of children?
My friends, after waiting so long and watching to see how the affairs in the palace turn out. Look, a messenger approaches, a servant of Jason. His frantic breathing shows he must be bringing bad news.
Medea, flee! Neglect no transport by land or sea.
What has happened that merits my flight?
Just now the royal princess and her father, Creon too, perished from your poison.
You tell the loveliest tidings. You'll be among my friends and benefactors from now on.
What are you saying? Woman, are you thinking straight, not mad? You rejoice at the news and fear no consequences after assaulting the hearth of the royal family.
I could offer some kind of rebuttal, but don't be hasty, friend. Tell me, how did they die? You would please me twice as much if they died horribly.
When the two children, your offspring, arrived with their father and entered the newlyweds' apartment, we were pleased. We slaves who wearied of your troubles, straight away our ears picked up the talk that you and your husband had resolved your quarrel. One of us kissed a little hand, another a child's blonde head. I even followed the children in pleasure into the women's quarters. The mistress we honored now, instead of you, eagerly kept her eye on Jason until she saw your two children. Then she covered her eyes and turned her pale cheek, loathing the boy's entrance. Your husband, to soothe the temper and rage of his bride, said, "You won't be unfriendly to family, will you? End your anger and turn your head, considering as kin anyone your husband does. Won't you accept these gifts? And for my sake, ask your father to release my sons from exile." When she looked at the finery, she could not resist, but agreed with her husband on everything. Before father and sons had gone far from the palace, she put on the embroidered dress and, placing the golden tiara around her curls, she arranged her hair in the shining mirror, smiling at the lifeless image of her body. Then, rising from her chair, she walked about the house, her pale white feet stepping daintily, utterly charmed by the gifts. Her eyes kept checking the hem, her ankle. After that, it truly was a terrible sight to behold. Her skin changing, her limbs trembling, she staggered, bent over, fell into a chair, nearly sinking to the ground. An old servant entered, and thinking either divine possession by Pan or another god, raised a joyous cry until she saw white foam frothing from her mouth, the pupils of her eyes rolling back, and her bloodless skin. Then, instead of the cry of joy, the old woman sang out a loud shriek. Straightway, one servant rushed to her father's quarters and another to her new husband to tell them of the bride's calamity. All the palace pounded with a flurry of running. Before a fast sprinter could reach the finish line in the last leg of a stadium race, the poor girl, mute, with eyes shut tight, started up, groaning terribly. A twofold pain attacked her. The golden tiara encircling her head shot forth a miraculous stream of all-devouring fire, while the delicate dress ate the white flesh of the bedeviled girl. The gifts from your children. Rising from the chair, she fled, on fire, shaking her hair and head every which way, desperate to throw off the crown. But the gold band held firmly, and the fire, after she shook her hair, blazed twice as fiercely as before. She fell to the ground, conquered by disaster. Only a parent could recognize her. The shape of her eyes and noble face distorted as blood mixed with fire dripped down from the top of her head. Her flesh melted away from the bones, weeping like pine resin from the poison's unseen jaws. A terrible sight. Everyone feared to touch the body, for we thought her fate a lesson. Her reckless father, ignorant of her misfortune, suddenly entered the room and fell upon the corpse. He groaned, throwing his arms around her, kissed her, and said, "My poor daughter, what god destroyed you so dishonorably?" who makes childless an old man near his grave. Ay, may I die with you, my child. When he stopped mourning and lamenting, he needed his aged body to rise. But he stuck to the delicate dress like ivy to shoots of laurel. They wrestled terribly as he tried to pull himself to his knees while she held him fast. When he applied force, she ripped his old flesh from the bones. In time he gave way, and the doomed man surrendered his life, no longer stronger than the poison. The bodies lie together, daughter with old father, a calamity longing for tears. I left your part out of the telling. You will know your own punishment in turn. Not for the first time, I think human life a shadow. And I would say without fear that those people who seem to be clever and play with words bring upon themselves the greatest folly. Nobody human can be happy. When wealth flows in, one man may be luckier than another, but not happy. No.
A divinity seems to justly merge many disasters for Jason in one day. How we pity your misfortunes, daughter of Creon, banished to Hades because of marriage with Jason.
My friends, I am determined to act. Kill the boys at once, then depart. I must not, by lingering, give the children to someone else to murder with a harsher hand. It is necessary for them to die, and since they must, I who gave them birth will kill them. Now arm yourself, my heart. Why delay doing the terrible and necessary evil? Yes, my reckless hand, take up the sword, take it! Step up to the painful start of your life. Don't be cowardly, don't remember the children, how very dear, how you gave them birth, but for this brief day, forget your sons, then mourn. Even if you kill them, even so, they are dear. Unfortunate woman that I am.
Earth and all-shining ray of Helios, look down on the destructive woman before she attacks her children with bloody kinslaying hand. She grew from your golden race, and now we dread that blood descended from a god will spill upon the earth by mortal hands. Zeus-born light, hold her, stop her, rid the house of the reckless and blood-stained avenging fury. The labor of childbearing is lost in vain, leaving the most inhospitable strait of the dark clashing rocks. You bore dear offspring in vain after all. Sorry creature, why does mind oppressing rage fall on you and frenzied murder follow these other deaths? The stain of kindred blood is hard for humans. Grief from the gods in due measure falls upon the house of murderers.
Oh, help me!
Do you hear a shout? Hear the children? Oh, reckless woman, evil fate!
Ay, my! What can I do? We're wrung from mother's hands! I don't know, dearest brother, we're lost!
Shall I enter the house? I am determined to prevent the child's murder.
Yes, by the gods, stop her in time! We're so close now to the sword's trap.
Wretch! So you truly are rock or iron, since you will kill the crop of children you bore. They're doomed by your own hand.
The children's screams stop abruptly.
Only one we've heard of. One woman before who cast her hand against her own children. When Zeus's wife Hera drove Ino mad and sent her from the house in a daze, the miserable mother fell into the sea for her children's unholy murder. Stretching a foot over the sea cliff, Ino perished, dying with her 2 sons. What terrible act is still impossible? Oh, woman's marriage bed of many woes, such evil you have already done to humankind.
Women standing out here. Is she in the house? She's done terrible deeds. Medea. Or has she already fled? She must be hidden beneath the earth, or her body aloft on wings into the high ether, not to pay the just penalty to the royal palace. Does she think she can escape from this house unpunished after killing the rulers of the land? But forget her. My thoughts are for the children. Those she harmed will do the same to her. I came to save the lives of my sons, fearing that the king's kin would act against us to exact retribution for their mother's unholy murders.
Miserable man. You do not know your troubles, Jason, or you would not have said those words.
What is it? I expect she wishes to kill me too.
Your sons are dead by their mother's hands.
Oi, moi. What do you mean? Woman, you destroy me.
Understand that your sons no longer live.
Where did she kill them? In the house or out?
Open the gates to view the murder of your children.
Unfasten the bar quickly, servants. Release the lock so I can see the double evil, the dead, and her to exact justice.
Medea enters on a crane above the stage in a dragon chariot, the Deus ex machina.
Why knock about and try to pry open the gates, searching for the corpses and me who did it? Cease your labor. If you have need of me, say what you want. Your hand will never touch me. Helios, father of my father, gave me this chariot, a defense against an enemy hand.
Vile woman, the gods, I and all the human race utterly despise you. You had the audacity to plunge a sword into your children, destroying me, childless. Can you look upon the sun and earth after daring this most monstrous deed? Damn you. I see now what I was blind to when I brought you from your barbarian home to a Greek household, an abomination, traitor to your father and land that raised you. The gods have hurled your avenging spirit at me ever since you killed your brother by the hearth and set sail on Argo, my beautiful ship. So you began. Even though you were married to me and had borne me children, you murdered them. All because of sex and a marriage bed. No Greek woman exists who would ever dare this, yet I picked you to marry. A hateful, destructive marriage for me. A lioness, not a woman, more savage than the Etruscan Scylla. But a million more insults would not bite into you. Such boldness is your true nature. Die, you shameless, polluted child killer. What's left for me but to mourn my fate? I won't profit by my new bride and cannot speak to my sons alive. Sons I bred and reared and then lost.
I would say much to refute your tale if Father Zeus did not know how you benefited from me and what you did. You could not dishonor my bed and live a delightful life mocking me. The princess and Creon, your marriage broker, could not have the impunity to throw me out of here. That's the way it is. Go on. Call me a lioness if you wish, and Etruscan Scylla. I attacked your heart as needed.
You hurt yourself and share in the suffering.
True, but it's worth the pain to still your laughter.
Children, what an evil mother you had.
Boys, a sick father destroyed you.
No, my right hand did not destroy them.
But your arrogance and new marriage did.
You thought it right to kill them over sex?
You think this a minor insult for a woman?
Yes, for a sensible one. You are pure evil.
These here no longer live. That will bite at you.
They live on, oi moi, as avengers for your head.
The gods know who began this calamity.
They know well your despicable mind.
So despise me. I loathe your bitter voice.
Just as I yours. So parting is easy.
What shall I do? I'm ready and willing.
Let me bury those bodies and then weep.
No. I shall bury them with my own hand, bringing them to the sanctuary of Aphrodite, where no enemy can abuse them, digging up their graves. I shall establish for all time in this land of Sisyphus a hallowed festival and due rites for this unholy murder. I will depart for the land of Euripides to live with Glauce, son of Pandion, in Athens. You will die badly, as a bad man deserves, struck on the head with a timber scrap from Argo, having seen the bitter end from my marriage.
May the children's furies and deadly justice destroy you.
What god or spirit listens to you, oath liar and deceiver of allies?
Foul abomination. Child killer.
Go home and bury your wife.
I go, deprived of 2 children.
You don't mourn yet. Just wait for old age.
Oh, dearest children.
Dearest to their mother, not you.
And so you killed them.
To hurt you.
Poor boy. The misery. How I long to press my sons' dear mouths close to me.
You speak to them now. Embrace them now. Back then you pushed them away.
By the gods, allow me to touch the soft skin of my children.
Not possible. You fling words in vain.
Medea flies off.
Do you hear how I am driven away, Zeus? And what I suffer from this foul, child-killing lioness? With all my strength, I sing a dirge and invoke the gods as my witness. Medea, you killed my children, then prevent my hands from touching them, burying their bodies. If only I had never had them, to see them slain by you.
Zeus in Olympus oversees many things. Much the gods accomplish, despite our hopes. The expected did not come to pass. A god found passage for the unexpected. Thus ends this matter of Medea.
Blackout. And thank you so much, everyone. I would like to introduce our cast, featuring Francesca Mintoff-Chij as Medea, John O'Hagan as Jason, Becca Ballinger as the nurse, the messenger, and the children, Peter Parolin as the tutor, Creon, and Aegeus, and Anne Mason as the chorus. This was Euripides' Medea, a new translation translated by Diane Rayor, Cambridge University Press, 2013. That is our show. If you enjoyed tonight's reading, please do consider showing your support for our virtual programming with a tax-deductible donation. Don't forget to tune in next week for our Read, Rant, Relate reading of Bound by Stardust, and to grab your streaming tickets for Loneliness Was a Pandemic.